folks. This is Monica, your host, coming at you from MJ Foods, U.S. We'd like to do a few ribeyes today, and so we're going to work with a few spices that you have in your pantry. One you might not have is called Adolph's Tenderizer by Lawry's Seasoning. And what it is it's an enzyme from the papaya fruit. Papaya is an enzyme that breaks down protein tissue. So you can do one of two things. You're able to put it on meat, and within about 3 or 4 hours, your meat will tenderize itself and it will become like butter. Whether you put it on a good cut of meat or whether you put it on a tough cut of meat. Although a tough cut of meat, I would probably let it sit for 3 days. Then it's like butter. So let's move forward, and I'm going to show you a few things that you can look for in the meat department. One of the things I really love to do is I like to buy meat under the manager special, and usually the meat is put out about 9 o'clock in the morning. In some places it's about 7:30 or 8, depends upon what time the store opens, but they can only hold meat for so long. And so what they'll do is they'll put a 30% off sticker or 50% off sticker, and if you look at it, it's going to be off of the original price. And then if you have a club card to that supermarket, it makes the deal really sweet. So in this situation, I have a ribeye from our local Vaughn's supermarket, and the original price on the steak was $12.12. This was a T-bone. Okay. And then with the club card, they said it was $7.27. That's what they marked it down to. Then, to make the deal even sweeter, they slapped on a sticker that said 50% off the lowest price, which made this T-bone steak $3 and some change. Anybody can eat meat for $3 and some change. So you pick up as much as you can afford, or however many is there, put them in your freezer, and stock up. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take the meat. We have two steaks, and I'm going to go ahead and season it with the Lawry's Adolph Tenderizer. You want to use this not sparingly, but then you have to watch how much salt that you add to the meat. So I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle this on, and I'm only going to do it on one side. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to dock it. So a lot of times they use the word docking, like when you're making pastries, you're rolling out pie dough, and you're poking it like this, and that creates the airflow. In the situation that you use the term docking in meat, it's so that as you poke it, you are breaking down tissue, one, but you're also creating holes so that whatever seasoning profile that you're using will penetrate through to the other side and be equally as seasoned. Okay, so that's pretty good. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some Worcestershire sauce. I always use the capful as a measuring guide. Worcestershire sauce. This happens to be from Smart and Final, but you know any of them will do. The profile of Worcestershire sauce is anchovy, so you're getting that savory notation in your meat. So what I do is I just pour this into my cap, and I use it like a measuring spoon, and I go all over the meat, and usually one capful is enough. And your capful never fails your measuring circumstance. If you like to, you can go back and you can go ahead and dock again if it makes you feel good. That way you know that all that's kind of going into the meat, seeping into the meat. And all it's going to do is add flavor. It penetrates it with salt. and it helps to also tenderize it. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add some garlic powder. I'm going to add lemon pepper. It's one of my favorite things to use. Many people make it, pick whatever's on sale. They're all slightly a little bit different. This is cumin, which is what they use in the Middle East or in Latin cooking. I also have thyme. This is powdered thyme, and with powdered thyme, it's very, they use this a lot also in Middle Eastern cooking and kebabs, but you want to use it kind of sparingly, because it is a little potent. And last but not least is some onion powder. And now we're going to get to the fresh herb. Even though I have used some powdered thyme on top of my steak, I'm also going to add some fresh herb. So we're going to add the fresh thyme. Many people don't work with herbs because they're not familiar with their properties and how to work with them. So this is a fresh thyme sprig, and how do you get the little leaves off of a thyme sprig? You want to work backwards. So basically what you're doing is that you're taking this and you're going to strip it backwards. And when you take it backwards, it automatically comes off. Whoops. So then once you get the thyme off, you want to go ahead and take a large blade knife and go ahead and chop as much as you can. You're not wanting to carry any of the stem, but chop as much as you can. And that's pretty fine right there. We just want to be able to brighten the taste of the steaks, okay? So we're just going to go ahead and coat that. Okay. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to add some fresh minced garlic. And we're going to go ahead and douse it with some olive oil. And then one thing that we didn't add yet is the sea salt or table salt. But try to use sea salt because it has a different flavoring and quality to it as opposed to regular table salt. But it's something that a cook will just grow into. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to turn them over, and we're going to go ahead and repeat those steps. Oops, I should smear that around. Okay, so one more time, just go back through our spices, leaving the papaya enzyme, like I said, to only one side. The lemon pepper, this is the cumin, this is the powdered thyme. Once again, repeating the steps so that you don't get too much where it's too potent, but enough to cover your space of your meat. Your onion powder. Onions make everything taste better. Your fresh herb, the rest of your chopped thyme. Your minced garlic. your olive oil, and your salt. Usually a couple pinches per steak. Okay, we're going to use a Middle Eastern technique that I've discovered. And what they do for the majority of other meats, whether they're cooking with lamb or they're cooking with beef or they're cooking with ground meats of any kind, is that they will take an onion and they will slice it very thinly or in rings. And what they'll do is they'll take these rings and they'll fuse the rings to the top of the meat. And by doing this imparts a flavor perspective when it's grilled that's unlike anything I've ever had before. Thin is better than thick, but I don't want to waste, so just a little bit more. And that's it, folks. So then what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and put a plastic wrap over the top of your meat. It's best to go ahead and let your meat sit. Preferably, I would let this sit 3 days. If you're to take a ribeye or a T-bone and let it sit 3 days with this perspective or this flavor profile, you're going to have a steak that is like butter. Don't worry, folks, that your meat is out of date. This is what restaurants that you pay $40 for a steak for, because they're dry aging it and they've kept it for 90 days. So you can keep a ribeye or a T-bone steak. I've kept it up to 10 days in my refrigerator with seasoning on before I cooked it. All right, folks, so we're going to go ahead and let the time marination elapse, and we're going to come back to you and show you how it's cooked.